Good afternoon, everyone. It is my very distinct honor to be the last person on on the agenda for this wonderful summit. So I want to convey to you what great fun this project was. But first I want to say, Art, you're a hard act to follow. And what he revealed about the dam removal, I'm taking just a little piece of that and talking about the vegetation that grew after the dam removal behind that. So, but first, my co-presenter and botanical partner, June Keebler, was not able to be here today, but she was very much a part of this project. And at Gary Swick's suggestion, June and I became involved in this plant survey at the dam removal, in part because we are both board members of the Friends of Dundee Natural Areas. And FDNA has an informal partnership with Friends of the Fox River. Our work supports not only Dundee Township's open space areas, but other public and private protected natural areas in the township, such as the Stan Dam removal site. And as part of my time here, although it didn't make it onto the program, FDNA's Domenico D'Alessandro has been given a few minutes to present his ideas on a partnership approach to the restoration of Shaw Creek and other Fox River tributaries at the point of the dam removal. So I'm giving him part of my time with agreement with Gary. So now for the show, let's see. Okay. So here you can see one of Art's amazing pictures after the drone slide photos after the dam removal, and also a map of the Jelky Creek watershed. So first, let's look at the map a little bit. All of Dundee Township and its natural areas, which is our focus with FDNA, lie within the Jelky subwatershed of the Fox. In fact, Shaw Creek flows through two of our, see if I can make, yeah, up there, two of our natural areas, Shaw Woods and Raceway Woods. And here's where it empties into the Fox River, a couple of its streamlets here. So that's going to be, part of the focus here. So Art's photo shows that after the dam removal, the river recovered its former channel instead of water being ponded behind it. This allowed an extensive floodplain to emerge on both sides of the Fox, land composed largely of silt and sand, a lot of sand we saw. Since it was almost winter, vegetation is not green and the floodplain is bare. It's a tabula rasa for what was to come. And here we have it the next summer in August, where there's vegetation on both sides of the river. It's a floodplain habitat. The land emerging at the dam removal site is a very young, changing system, wet, disturbance-based, and dynamic. The dam removal provided a unique and remarkable opportunity to study an emerging ecosystem of this type as it filled with vegetation, crisscrossed by small streams and dotted with water pockets. Historical studies of the Fox River floodplain show that according to the 1837 land surveys, the west bank of the Fox, the one we explored, June and I, was more open due to the fires that roared in from the west, mostly herbaceous vegetation on a sand silt shoreline with scattered, very open floodplain forest. The river's east bank was more thickly wooded and deeply shaded. The trees you see here on the west bank are much thicker, denser than they would have been historically as a result of fire suppression. Here's another shot taken August 19 when we had a tour with a group of the site. Earlier that spring, think about it, the very next season, the emergent land quickly and amazingly filled with dense masses of many plant species, difficult to move through, I can swear to that. Some came from seeds that floated down from upriver, like the tiny maple and cottonwood seedlings we found. Some came in from local sources like roadsides and crop fields, such as curly dock and velvet leaf. Many of these plants were very weedy, both the native and the non-native plants we might call pioneers that moved quickly into a newly opened area and begin to stabilize it. I was surprised to see how green and lush the growth was. It felt almost tropical. Occasional wildflower and a splash of color. Note the smartweed in the foreground here. It's an aggressive species that was common in August. Again, this floodplain can never be completely stable, as we saw so vividly in Art's drone shots. It's a disturbance system which responds to the rise and fall of the river. For example, when June and I first started botanizing there in July, the river was low, and we've heard how low the river was, I think the lowest point ever in 2025. And it was quite a bit of floodplain terrace to walk on. Later, the river rose after summer rains for a while, submerging some of the plants in the substrate. So now for the plants. And there were copies at the Friends of the Fox River table of the plant list that we developed. We found 62 different species in July and August, 42 natives, 20 non-natives, and this ratio, about 2/3 native to 1/3 non-native, is fairly typical for most habitats except for the most pristine remnants. It says here that we found 2 that was new to Kane County, but as it turned out, we learned later that only one of them was new to the county. But many of the species, again, are fairly weedy, but we did find some jewels, some really nice ones. Perhaps not the highest quality you would find in a remnant wetland, but still very special for here, like this northern rosemallow. And you see the number 7 here. That's the coefficient of conservatism ranking developed by Gerald Wilhelm for native species. The higher the number ranges from 1 to 10, the higher quality the plant is, normally belonging to a high quality remnant habitat. And most of the natives we found are the 2, 3s, and 4s, right in the middle of range of that scale. So now for some plants. So going from the left to the right, I'll just describe a little bit about each one. Native species first. This is a cursed buttercup, and it's an annual or a short-lived perennial. It grows low to the ground. It is called cursed because its succulent leaves produce juices that cause blistering, so you want to avoid them. Common boneset is a tall perennial plant. It's also found in high quality sedge meadows, but it's one of the more common ones there. Needle spikebush, I really like this one. It's a tufted perennial that likes the bare soil of mudflats and muddy shores. At times it can be the only vegetation on those areas, though here we found plenty of competition alongside it. Rusty nutsedge. This is an annual or weak perennial. It also likes mudflats. It's quite abundant, and it casts a rushy, burnt orange color on the habitat in late summer. Blue vervain. This perennial is also found in good sedge meadows, and here it provided a very nice spot of color. Marsh marsh cress is an annual or biennial mustard plant. And for plant nerds, this is variety Fernaldiana because of the smooth stems and leaves, not hairy. It's also a typical plant of emerged shorelines and mud plants. And so just a note here, there were fewer annual species than I expected. I expected quite a few more. There are some, of course, but they're also a good representation of perennial species, like the next species, common arrowhead. This perennial has one of the more striking flowers. You can see the flowers in the inset. We saw it after flowering. The male and female flowers are separate, but both on the same plant stalk. Its tubers are good duck food, which is why it's sometimes called duck potato, although I never called it that. Arrowhead grows in and next to flowing water, and here is actually along a rivulet of Shaw Creek. These small rivulets in pockets of water occur throughout the area. It's really a delta system. And the final plant here is common burbead. This perennial also bears separate female and male flowers. The white ones are the male. Let's see if I'm pointing. And then above them is a green female going to seed. It also grows in standing water and is another fairly high quality species. Walter's cockspur grass. It's hard to believe this annual species grew so much in a single year. This is one of the highest quality plants that we found. It's very imposing, very tall, with dense nodding seed heads. It's a very good waterfowl food source. And it also is typically found on receding shorelines. Hard-stemmed bulrush. Now this is a rhizomatous perennial. It's a common rush of sedge meadows, but also of mud flats and receding shores. I've seen it growing in dense stands. Oh, here it has not developed to that extent. False pimpernel. This annual has delicate bell-shaped flowers. It grows very low to the ground, and it's quite easy to miss. Smooth creeping lovegrass. I'm pointing to my paper. This annual provides a good cover for stabilizing the soil. Under the leafy parts is a network of hugging stoloniferous mat-forming stems. It too likes mudflats and receding shorelines. It's interesting how many of these species like that kind of system, the mudflats and the shorelines. They figured out where to go and found a home. As they say, build it and they will come. And guess what they did? Water speedwell is a creeping perennial. This one is new to Kane County and only known from 4 other counties in northeastern Illinois. And perhaps the seeds floated down from McHenry where it is recorded. Purple amaranth. The annual amaranths were abundant and coarse. This slide proves that we were there. June shadow and my boots. And purple loosestrife. Everybody knows this one, this beautiful perennial plant. And as a side note, we strongly recommend removing these rapidly spreading invasive plants. There are several others like reed canary grass and Phragmites, and also the one on the end, the last plant, flowering rush. This is one we thought was new to Kane County, but Ben Haberther, the executive director of the Forest Reserve, knows it in a couple of other Kane sites where they quickly remove it. And there may be an opportunity for Kane Forest Preserve District, Friends of the Fox, and volunteers to partner in managing some of these invasive species before they explode, because what we know, once they get going, they are very hard to control. We are sure there are many more species to discover and look forward to further searches on both sides of the river in 2026, starting quite soon. We want to get back in springtime. To follow the evolution of this system, it would be ideal to return every couple of years to record the changes. And that's my last slide is thank you to everyone listed on this list and some references. And I don't have time for questions. I'm going to turn it over to Domenico now for his part in this talk. Thank you.
I was granted 5 minutes, so I'll do my elevator speech. Since it's only 5 minutes, I'm going to read it because I timed it. Hopefully I'll get it in time. But before I do that, I came here with a lot of questions, and I found the answers in the previous presentations. And in fact, a lot of the previous presentations directly relate to what I'm going to ask. And one of the things I want to ask to this group is precisely Dr. Marshall's comments on how to deal with different people that we deal with in restoration. And one of the challenges we have is that we have to deal with private ownerships and homeowners associations. And these are notoriously difficult to handle, especially if we don't have the skills that Dr. Marshall was talking about. So my request today to this group is there a possibility to form a task force or some sort of consultation group that FDNA, Friends of Dundee Natural Areas, can connect to in order to speak properly to all the people that we need to get involved? Okay, so I'm talking about a unified approach to Fox River tributary revitalization. And so we know that the removal of the dam has allowed the section of the river to restore its natural flow. And we are witnessing significant regeneration of native flora like Susanne just showed. But we also need to include here similar attention to the tributaries, and in particular, the smaller tributaries that are often forgotten. In fact, 2 of the tributaries that we're working on are not even recognized on the map. So we need to focus a little bit on that. And that can be done through groups like FDNA, which is very local and knows where they are. And these small streams are actually undergoing severe erosion through hundreds of years of farming, tiles, and so forth. So they do carry a lot of sediments into the Fox River. So typically numerous tributaries are fragmented. Yeah. So this is Shaw Creek as it comes right where the dam was. The dam is the dotted line. And this creek starts at Sleepy Hollow Road, and it comes right through 31 to the Fox. And you can see how it's been channelized on top, but at the bottom, it really spreads out into an array like a little delta. And this is what feeds that area that in yellow, which is the area that was botanized in the previous presentation. So So these tributaries are fragmented among multiple property owners who undertake separate initiative, each applying their own interpretation and management practices to the water features under their care. Many don't take into account how their actions affect downstream communities. When doing restoration work, each stakeholder submits grant applications independently, sometimes leading to competition rather than cooperation. Because actions are uncoordinated and not implemented at the same time, the creek is not managed as an integrated system. The work of one stakeholder could negatively impact the work previously carried out by another stakeholder downstream. To counter this fragmentation, I propose that we begin to tackle these streams as whole systems. By doing so, we can submit a unified grant application and consolidate contractual work. Also, generate sufficient funds for matching grants that pose a burdensome challenge if going it alone. And most importantly, treat the full length of the creek as a living ecosystem with inherent rights. Ideally, the legal anchor for this could be to include the rights of nature doctrine in our county, township, and municipal ordinances. This is already being achieved in areas of the United States and around the world. Establishing clear criteria will help mitigate the challenges associated with aligning stakeholders and a unified set of goals. I encourage collaboration efforts to address the challenges facing Shaw Creek, which has the potential to serve as a model for similar initiatives. The stakeholders, King County, Dundee Township, Carpentersville, Open Lands, are well positioned to reach consensus on a unified strategy. However, engaging homeowners associations and private owners remains a significant challenge. And this is where Dr. Marshall's comments really hit home to me, that we really need to broaden our language and meet people where they are. Restoration criteria should extend beyond sediment load control. It is crucial to avoid merely armoring existing channels. This has been a pet peeve of mine, where I know a lot of restoration work has been done. A lot of them have achieved awards, but I see no difference between holding a creek with riprap and holding a creek with concrete. So I think we have to lift the creeks out of their dug-in channels and freedom to remeander on their own. We don't need to plan it too much. We have to give them space to remeander on their own. Just like the river that Art's photos showed, the river needs to send its sediment, find its way, and we can do that even with the smaller creeks. We need to lift the creeks out of the deep channels they were forced to scour into under pressure, give them freedom to remeander and become alive once again. So I'd like to end with a poem by Thomas Berry, who's a cultural historian, geologian, and one of the fathers of the rights of nature movement. Summertime near, I'm here, you're there. Let's go down the hill, across the field, to the creek. Careful, don't fall. Cold water, bare feet. Awaken to a youth I thought was lost. So imagine a creek where we are safely able to step into with our bare feet. That should be our goal. Thank you.
It's excellent. Thank you. Oh, right. Thank you to all the speakers that did a great job today. And we have tripped me on the stage. We have one last thing. We are going to give away a little bit of swag. We've had some swag from the FREP and some Girl Scout cookies from